Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Today, it's even more chashuv to come to learn than yesterday. I could only imagine how many people here have headaches and hangovers. It's unbelievable, be'emes, to come and to learn Torah in every situation, every day. We have an amazing prepared shir today. I have to say, yesterday was probably one of the hardest days to prepare a shir. You hear, Judah? I know you're shtickle hungover, but let's go. Let's get this together. I accomplished sitting for hours trying to prepare 4 or 5 lines. Unbelievable. Worse than learning on a plane. It's unbelievable. So, welcome to all the guests. Wurzburger, what's your first name? Yaeli Wurzburger from Brooklyn, New York. And you here with the son or something?
He's getting a mitzvah.
A mitzvah. And who's the one next to him? His brother. Wow, the brothers are here. Psh, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. You didn't go to the Kaisel, of course. You first came here, no?
I'm going to have a mitzvah overlooking the Kaisel Mitzvah Shabbos.
Doyle was invited, if anybody heard. All right, so I just want to take you real quickly. If you want to see the screen, a beautiful piece of art by our artist Yoshi. It says Magichir on the thing, and on his hat it says Amaritz. And there's kutach in the shalach manas, there's fish blood, there's peanuts, there's even woody, gewaldige stuff. The next one is, it looks like Yisrael Goldstein, I'm not sure, something happened to his beard, and that's Eli Dykman. Now, one of the reasons I'm showing this picture is because there's a cave, 2013 cave, and it brings back terrible memories from yesterday, and I'll explain. I had a guest, Maisa Shahaya, he came with a bottle of cave. He said, I know you love cave, I brought the cave. Right before the Sudi, he comes over and he says, Eli, I have to apologize. I couldn't control myself. I drank the cave. All of it. The entire bottle. I promise you. Maisa Shahaya. And here he is. He's Loig Larush with his bottle of cave. This is... You're going to see... You can't. Amol Famish, Yehuda Shuk, Nachum Horowitz, and Rabbi Fink, Dovi Fink. Who else? Okay, that's it. These are the Baldwin brothers. Now I got to show you this. I'm really not happy about this. I'm not condoning this, but in the spirit of Purim, I want to show you this video real quickly. Hold on. You can put on the volume real loud here. It gets good over here. This is what we call Avodah Zarah. You ready? Here we go. You don't see it? I'll show you the screen here. The dancing in front of a geshka and the dancing with the geshka. This is the same geshka that the same geshka. Oh, here it goes. It's on the screen now. All right. Giovanni, the system we have going.
I think it's a sign from Shemayim.
It's a sign in Shemayim that we need either new equipment or new guy on the equipment, but this is not working out. That's the sign. All right. We need the best equipment. Parnas HaChodesh for the Koilol is Mr. Anonymous. The Yiddish was Chaya Bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh Shauly Rosenfeld in memory of my dear friend Yehuda Augenbaum. Parnas HaChodesh by the Lock Lebovic families, Lakewood, as zechus for our families. Parnas HaChodesh, Jonathan Davydov, for the Hatzlachah of Davydov family. Zvi Fein, in honor of my mother's 7th yartzeit, Rochel Bas Zvi Arya, also in honor of my grandson's Aufruf this coming Shabbos. Mazel Tov. Yacov and Malka Slatus, Refuah Shleima for our son, Yeshaya ben Malka Chaya, Refuah Shleima. Shalom Viktor, Zacaraev, Refuah Shleima, Liza Lea, Bat, Mazel Tov. Oh, I got to tell you this. I was over a tremendous sister and I want to do tshuva b'rabim. At the siyum, I have to do the calculation real quick. Yevamos, I didn't do it. I should shut the program. It's the program's fault. Okay, here we go. Is it shut? Gevaldik, here we go. Let me just do this real quick. I was honored over there by the dinner and as the guest of honor and as the Messiah and the Magachir for 800 plus daf, my wonderful chaverim, Noam Fix and Avi Kamyansky, who mevayich me b'rabbin once before, and they put my face all over the buses, and people thought that I hired those things. Okay. They came and they gave me an unbelievable matana. I'm doing the math here real quickly. Oh, okay. What do they give me? I'm not joking. They come with 6 boxes in front of everybody. Said, we want to give you. It's really for your wife, not for you. Okay. I brought one with me. I'll show you. This is what they gave me. And immediately, my first reaction, my midas took over, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I put in, 14,000 hours to prepare 800 daf, and this is what they're giving me, a butterfly for my wife. I later found out that each one of these costs about $200 plus, and there's 6 of them. My wife really likes it, Gevaldik. But on the spot, I went crazy, like, this is what you gave me, were you crazy? Give me something better. This is what a Magachir deserves. But they redeemed themselves, or boys say they really redeemed themselves. This is the stuff I like, and this is the stuff I'm very proud of. And they bought me this on Purim. It's a picture that you've seen before, but it's a blow up. And it's an amazing, amazing photograph. First of all, I want to give Yeshaya to Yisrael Goldstein, who gave me this idea. I called him up, I said, how do we do it? Do we rent paranchas? What do we do? How do we get... He says, no, I'll show you a picture that I took, the photographer. And it happens to be that we have one of the best photographers in the world, especially here in Eretz Yisrael, Eugene Weisberg. Look at the clarity. You can see every single face. And Mordechai Seltzer used the program, and there's approximately 600 plus people in this picture alone. There's over 1,000 people at the scene, but in this picture, which was close to midnight, close to 600, if you count the 100 women behind them in Bechitza. Fine. But no, he really put a dot on each person's face, and the program counts it like that. So you don't have to bother counting. It's very difficult to count. I tried it myself. So Yishkoyach for this unbelievable. They redeem themselves. And I asked Mechila, you could get, on the merch site, it's like $700. It's $1 per face. All right, Yishkoyach Eugene, Yishkoyach Noam and Avi. On Purim, I hung it up. I don't really have room in my house, but I realized that when it was high up, nobody noticed it. But when it was at eye level, people came over. I'm here, I'm there. Everybody went over to the picture to see where they were, and the picture was amazing. But now, as you realize by now that I didn't really prepare the daf, and that's why this monologue is going to go on for another 5 minutes. Kasha, it's a kasha. Ravashi, Savalakir Shlakish, and Memela, everything is great. Umitar Slakir Shimon, that's a little bit of a problem. Ravina, okay, so yesterday we learned this amazing machlokes. Let's say we have 4 brothers, doesn't matter. These are all the Baldwin brothers right there in the picture. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, the brothers. Reuven goes ahead, and I put a shoe there. We have to have a better prop, but for now this will do. That's an antique shoe that they use. It costs thousands of dollars today. We try to get it. It's a bit of a issue to bring it here to the shir. But Be'ez Hashem, we will have one here by the time Yevamos is over. So Reuven performed chalitza to a Yevama on top of him. Leah, we'll call her Leah. One of the brothers, somebody died. Lamashana. He performs chalitza. Now, as we learned yesterday, a wife of a brother is Isser Eishes Ach. You're not allowed to marry your wife's brother, your sister-in-law. But if the brother dies without children, it's a mitzvah to perform Yibum or Chalitza. What happens after you perform one of those? The Isser of Eishes Ach is removed. So if he performs Chalitza though, he cannot marry Leah again. He performed Chalitza, she's like divorced, bye-bye. Now, not bye-bye in the sense of bye-bye, like Reuven bye-bye, but a different bye-bye. She is, you can't marry her again. What's the Isser to marry her? Only a Isser Lav. The Isser Eshesach, which is the Isser Karas, is very Chomer, it's a Rayas. That's removed. And what happens is, as you see on Reuven, it says Isser Lav. Now what about the other brothers? What if they go ahead and marry her? So according to Rish Lakish, it's an Isser Karas, because that Isser Karas was only removed for that one brother that performed the Chalitza. But not for Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. You see? Isser Karas. Here, let me turn on that laser. People like the laser. Turn it on. Here we go. But these brothers right over here, they have an Isser Karas. Okay. Rebbe holds no. This guy, Ruvain, he performed the Chalitza, but he performed it as a messenger and a shliach for his brothers. So whatever happens to him happens to the brothers. So he removed the Isser Karas. It became an Isser Lav. It's an Isser Lav for all the brothers. Now if they go ahead and they marry her illegally, they're not allowed to marry her. It says, Lo Yivna, Shuv Lo Yivna. But they're only over Isser Lav, not an Isser Karas. Then the Gemara went ahead and brought a contradiction in the Brisa. On the one hand, it says in the Brisa that if you perform Chalitza to the Yevama, like Ruvain did in that picture, and then he goes ahead and marries her illegally, and he dies, he did something good over here. You have to do Chalitza, it says. In other words, the brothers, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, have to do Chalitza. But why do they have to do Chalitza? We should treat her like a mother, like a daughter. If a daughter falls to you, liyibum, you don't do Chalitza. You're not related. You can't be related to her. You can't do yibum to her, so there's no zika. So if Reuven went ahead and he married his chalutza after he did chalitza, according to Rish Lakish, that these brothers and her are Isser Kares, then she never fell to them. So why does it say on top over there in the Brisa that they have to perform a chalitza? Mitzat Sheni, it says in the Brisa, if one of the brothers went ahead, if Shimon, Levi, Yehuda went ahead and married her, the Kedushin is nothing. Who does that sound like? Like Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish says it's nothing. Rebbe Yochanan says it's only a lav, so it would catch on. So which one is it? Is it the blue or is it the red? It's a contradiction. On the one hand, it seems that it works. The Kedushin works. Reuven's illegal Kedushin works, and you have to perform a chalitza. On the other hand, it says that it doesn't work. Says the Gemara beautifully, Kashya, top of Yud Aleph, Amud Aleph, 10 daf into Yevamos. By the way, yesterday, a very brilliant guy in the shir, I know he's brilliant, he's a very good businessman, his name is Benny, comes over to me, and he says, I'm just starting to chap Yevamos. So if you guys are not chapping it, you're in good company, because there's very smart guys here that are, but they're starting to chap it. And then the guy comes on Purim, I'm not exaggerating, with a 3.5 foot board of meat. So you know what 3.5 feet? It's wider than this thing. It had, I don't know, what was that? A half a lamb on it. Cow, that's what he does for a business. He sells this stuff. But he made it. He prepared it. Apparently he was calling my wife, how many guests do you have? How many guests? And she said, no one. But then we had a bunch. What is that? Is that a rack of lamb? It was the size of my Gemara. Like a whole. Shkoyach, thank you. But Benny's. No, but by the time I got to the meal, he said, I'm sorry, I ate it all. No, that's not what happened. Rav Ashi Savalak Rish Lakish. Umetaris Lak Reb Shimon. Oh, so let's see. Here we go. So this is, people had a little bit of an issue, but we're going to repeat it over. And eventually it's going to sink in. I changed the Yisachar and Zvulun, the Chassidish kid with the payas and this and that, to the stork. I think it fits better. I got to speak to the artist. We got to redo it. Noilad means he was born. It's hard to see from a 3-year-old kid whether he's born or not. Noilad means he was born. So again, we're going back to this case. Mace, we had Yibem Noilad. Over here, we're going to change it up a little bit, mamish a little bit. There was a brother who died. He left over a little wife on top over there. Her name is Rachel. Comes Shimon, and he's Chaylitzer. Yeah, I'll show you. Comes this guy Shimon, and he takes Reuven's wife, and he is chayletz. What does he do afterwards? He does something also, and he's mekadesh. After he's mekadesh, all of a sudden a brother is born. What's that called? Noilad. So says the Gemara like this. It's not the Gemara is going to repeat these words. Don't worry about it. Ravina savalak Rabbi Yochanan u'mataris like Rabbanan. What does that mean? Rav Ashi savalak Rish Lakish u'mataris like Rabbi Shimon. That what? Hachoylets liivimtoi v'chazer v'kitsha. He did step one. Step two. First he did chalitza, then he did kiddushin. Now, yesterday we mentioned the halacha according to Rebbe Kiva. Rebbe Kiva holds that if you are mekadesh somebody that's aser, just a lav, the kiddushin is not chal at all. That was yesterday. We mentioned it as one of the terutzim. We're not going like that. The kiddushin is a good kiddushin. You're over a lav. The chazer kitcha. Hold on. Chazer kitcha. Tzricha chalitza min ha'achim. She does require chalitza. It's a good kiddushin. Manachim, achim hayiloidim. So these are brothers that are in existence. So the regular brothers, we're going back to this right over here. Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, they have to perform chalitza. Why? Because he did a kiddushin. Everything is good. Kimakir b'Shimon. Now. Where am I? Sorry. Manachim. Kiman. What? Yiloidim is? Yeah, you're right. Yiloidim. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Let's get it straight. So what happened is, like in the picture over here, forget this picture now. This picture. There was a kid that was born afterwards. So since he came along afterwards, while his brother Shimon was married to Rachel, he came into the world when he had a married brother, and that brother dies. So Memela, he has to perform a chalitza. What about his other brothers? They don't perform a chalitza. Why? Because it's a zechus. So, only according to Reb Shimon, this picture right over here, this noilad, has a connection to Shimon and his wife. In other words, according to Reb Shimon, we don't care about history. The history is that in step one, there's another brother who died and left over Rachel. Rabbanan hold that's a big problem for this kid in the stork, because once he was not alive when his brother was married to Rachel. But Reb Shimon says no. There's a new marriage here between Shimon and Rachel. Forget about Reuven and Rachel. There's a new marriage. I don't care about history. I care about right now. When he was born into a world where he had a brother that was married, and that brother that was married, Shimon, went bye-bye. So the kid in the stork has to perform a chalitza. But what about the brothers that were alive when Reuven was alive? And then Shimon came along and was chayletz and then mekadesh. They're not allowed to have anything to do with her. It's a curse on them. Let's see inside. These are the children that were born later. The stork kid. Reb Shimon, only according to Reb Shimon, who holds that he has a connection to his brother Shimon. We don't care about the history. It's not a fast day today, right? If Shimon came along, let's go back to this one right over here. Shimon comes along and is Mekadesh, does Chalitza, and does Kiddushin, Ein Lolav Klum, Kiman, Kirish Lakish. The other guys, the other brothers in this picture, Did I have a better picture? I don't remember anymore. Okay. The other brothers, there's a chorus with her, so therefore she doesn't fall to them. They don't have to do anything. Ravina Omar, Ravina Savar, Ravina is going to do the opposite. Ravina Savar ki Rabbi Yochanan, umetar tzali b'der Rabbanon. Again, so we go back to Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan holds. I'm just showing this as to confuse everybody. Again, the idea of Meis Noilad Yibem. The idea that in step 5, this kid in step 5, he was born with a stork after his second brother died. According to Reb Shimon, take away the clock for a second because I don't see it. According to Reb Shimon, he's mutter. Oh, you guys see it? Fine. He's mutter to the step 3. He's mutter to Rachel. Why? Because when he was born, same thing we said a second ago. When he was born into a marriage. Levi had already married Rachel. So it's not a Eishes Achshalaya Ba'alame, according to Reb Shimon only. According to Chachamim, he was born after step 1. And his brother, Ruvain, no longer married to Rachel, and therefore he's forever Aser. Okay. We're just taking that and using it in our case of Chalitza and Kiddushin. It's the same thing. But Rabbi Yochanan holds that these 3 brothers are all alav. In other words, when Ruvain performs chalitza on the Yevama, he's a shliach for all 4 brothers, for himself and the other 3 brothers. And when the Isser Eshesach goes away, it goes away for all the brothers. So therefore, just like Reuven only has the Isser Lav, and when he goes ahead and he performs the Kiddushin on this Yevama, which he shouldn't have, the Kiddushin is Chal, it's his wife, so too for them. So Memela, they all have to do Chalitza. The original brothers are around. They have to perform Chalitza. But if the kid in the stork goes ahead, Vikitra, and he's Mekasha, Ein Lolav Klum. Because Rabbanan hold that step 5 kid, or in this case, the kid in the stork, even though he came into the world when his brother Shimon was married to Rachel, but it happens to be that his brother Reuben was also married to Rachel, and he wasn't in the world when he was married to Rachel. And what is that called? Eishes ach shaloi hoya bar lamai. Ememela. That kid in the stork is always usher to Rachel forever and ever. And therefore, if he goes in Zmekadisher, what is that worth? 0. Next. Itmar Habal Yevama. Now I got to tell you this. I've been holding this back since the beginning of the Masechta. So because it's Matzei Purim, I want to tell you this Maisa. It's a true story, and I confirmed it yesterday with the Bachram from Oyer Yisrael. Rabbi Yehuda Rosen from Oyer Yisrael, if you know anything about Oyer Yisrael, I'll tell you real quickly. It's a yeshiva that if you come 2 minutes late to Shachris, you go home for a week. Go home. There's no monkey, not 1 minute late, nobody, nothing. Come late to Seder, go home for a week. A lot of guys, they want to go home for a week, they come into Seder for a minute late. I'm not kidding. So this bacher comes over to the Rishiva, and he says, I was already home, I met my brother's Kala, I'd like to go again. He says, what do you mean? The minhag in the yeshiva is only once. You don't go home. He says, besides, what do you have to get to know your brother's Kala? He says, what do you mean what I have to get to know? She's my future Yevama. I need to know. He says, that's a good chap. You can go home. He enjoyed it. They say that when he hears a good zah, my future Yevama. My future Yevama. Amar Rav Rav. No, Itmar. Habal Yevama.
He was so big. They locked him in. The guys from AIDS locked him into his apartment. They
Which guys?
Guys from AIDS.
Yeah.
They put him in a way that he couldn't get out.
Yeah.
So they had to get a guy to cut the door out.
Yeah.
He prided himself in the fact that it wasn't like the shachar.
Idmar, Habal Yevama, Uboechem and Aachim al Tzarasa. So now again, we're going through the same ideas that we learned before. What happens after somebody performs a chalitza? We had a machlokes. The other brothers, are they over and alav on Kares? What happens if one of the brothers performs a yibum, removes the iser eishes ach from that yivama? But what happens to her co-wife? We said before that according to Rabbi Yochanan, one brother he's a messenger for all brothers, one yivama is a messenger for all the wives. If you hold that it's one brother versus one of the wives, and they remove from each other the Isser Kares, but everybody else is left with Kares, it goes according to Rish Lakish. According to Rabbi Yochanan, one person performs a Chalitza or a Yibum, everybody is removed from the Isser of Eishesach, there's no more Kares. From here on out, it is only an Asay. Omer Rav Yudom Rav. If you remember, we were still mamish in the beginning of Yevamos, Daf Gimel, Amud Beis. The Gemara asks, why does the Mishnah say 15? We know how to count. And the Gemara's answer was to exclude this Gemara right here. Omer Rav, according to Rav, Tsaras Soita Asura. You have Eidim that say somebody's wife was Mizana, then she becomes Asur to her husband, and her co-wife becomes Asur to the Yavam. So the guy dies before he had an opportunity to give her a divorce, and the Zaina falls down together with the co-wife. They're both potter from Yibum. No Yibum according to Rav. No Chalitza. Tumuksivba, Karayas. What did I do here? I don't even remember why I said this. Maybe it's for that. Oh, Vinistra v'yinitma al-tam cholela. I know this is very important, this thing here, but I'm not here 100%. So you look at it, you're valdik. Was it a Gemara that we already learned? I have no idea. We did?
Yeah, why did you say it's an asay?
Oh, very good. What? This one? Oh, let's go back. Why is it an asay? Because the Torah says that you're 100%. Torah says one person is miyabim, not two brothers. Or not two, you can't be miyabim two Yevamos. Why? It says in the puzzle. It's Lashon Yachid. One. But Rashi explains, obviously it's Gemara, whatever, this is more of a positive that you should be Baina bias, but you learn from it, it's not a lav, it's an asay. So that's why Rabbi Yochanan says it's an asay. Fine. Next. This teaches us that if a person is a saita, she's a zaina, there's tuma. It says nitma. And it also says by all the arayis, al tatam b'choleila. So we see that she's an erva. She's like an erva. Whatever we do with an erva, the 15 arayis that we have in the first Mishnah, we add this to the list according to Rav. Says the Gemara, Mazel Rav Chizda, two muktzivuk arayis. Mazel Rav Chizda, Reb Shimon Oimer, biyasoi chalitzasa miyacham sharishain, poiteres sarasam. So it says Mefurish, Reb Shimon says that if there is yibum or chalitza from one of the brothers, the other ones are potter. Now, what's the case? The case is like this. There was a woman, very, very sad case. A woman, her husband went on a business trip and never came back home. Comes a guy, Yankel says, I saw your husband. He was held up in a robbery. He was murdered. I saw. Fine. So based on the testimony, she goes and she gets married. A year later, Shalom Aleichem. He's home. The original husband, Shalom Aleichem. What's the halacha? Both of them have to divorce her. Now what about Yibum? So Reb Shimon holds, you could be miyab. Now, she's a little bit of a zayna here because she should have looked into it more. It's a little bit of her fault. Yes, it's shogeg. Yet it says here that as a zayna, there is yibum, there is chalitza. Rav says that she's mamisha erva, she's potter from yibum, potter from chalitza. What's Davi's answer? That she's not a real zayna. There's no real edim. She did whatever she could do. She thought she could get married. She's mamisha oynas. I'm telling you that there's nus purposely. Somebody made a mistake. So what's even the Havamina? It doesn't make sense, the question. Yeah, but when Chacham established the halacha and they said that she has to get divorced, and we treat her like the Eraisa Zayna that did it on purpose, and Memela, there shouldn't be any Yibum. What are you telling me there's Yibum there? If a husband tells his wife, he's Mekana her, it's called Mekana. He warns her, don't seclude yourself with Pliny. And she goes into seclusion for the amount of time that it takes to be Mitama, Asura Lebeisav, Asura Lecha B'Truma. Look at this pasuk right over here, or 3 psukim. Asher Tista Isha Tachas Isha V'Nitma. This is one pasuk. V'Ishkas Hamayim V'Yisim V'Nitma. It's all within the same parak, but it's a bunch of psukim apart. Again, it says the word V'Kinas Ishta V'Nitma Tuma. So it says Tuma 3 times. From there we learn that this Saita, this woman that was warned by her husband not to be secluded, she's Asura to her husband, she's Asura to that guy that she was with, and she's Asura to eat Truma if she's a Koyanet, married to a Koyan. So, Nichnasa, let's say, Asura Lebeisa, Asura Lecha B'Truma, V'meis, but what does it say? What does Rav hold if the husband dies? Rav says there's no Yibum, there's no Chalitza, nothing. 0. Why? Because she's a Erva. And her Tzara is a Tzara Serva. Mamish, part of the first Mishnah. Treat her like you treat your own daughter. If a daughter falls to you Yibum, there's no Yibum, there's no Chalitza, nothing. But it says Choyletzes. There is Chalitza. I'm not saying she's 100%, saying that there's suffix Saita. What's the difference? In the parsha of Saita, we don't know 100% what happened over there. We have Reglaim Ledover, Rashi calls it. We have very good reason to believe something happened. But it's not 100%. You can't say there was Eidim. Nevertheless, it's Tumah. Sponsored by Moshe Honor of Shmuley Sugar and the original sugarshaker. Sponsored by Moshe Kinsbursky in honor of Brian and Talia Edgar. Look at this. The guys that turn in the page, they make it in my Mishalach Manas. It was in there, Woody. It was in that Shalom. Unbelievable. Givaldic stuff. Zog the Gemara. Look how the Gemara does this to us. We're going straight. Rabbi Katz, by the way, Shalom Aleichem. I should really call you up here. Givaldic guy. I met him yesterday. I saw him a few times before. He's a teacher for Kriya. And if anybody needs Kriya, he's top stuff. He's an unbelievable guy. If you have other jobs for him, speak to him at the end. I'm telling you, he's a great guy. Bemes. Givaldic guy. Had a lot of enough from him yesterday. Rabbi Yosef and Kibbutz and Mishum Rabbi Lazar. Amachzik Rishosim and Anesuin Asura. He said the Gemara does this. All of a sudden, we go into a whole other sugi of Machzik Rishosim. Machzik Rishosim, what's that? If a person, here, this is the best I could do this morning. Person, we'll call him a dentist from the 5 towns. I love the shidduch. Cool guy from the 5 towns, the whole zach, dentist. To a woman who never saw a dentist, never went to the dentist. I'm just saying, I'm a little bit upset at that particular woman. I'll tell you why. Erev Purim had a murdic idea. What better way than me showing up here like that woman? I need to show what she looks like. I turned over the world. They will not lend that thing out. I couldn't get it. I got the pink Crocs. I couldn't get the thing. Fine. You don't have a store? A Burka store? That was last seconds. I don't know what they have. They make it themselves. Did you see what? Okay, fine. Burka boutique. Yeah, there is. I just couldn't find where it is. Fine. So anyway, she's married to Mr. 5-town guy, and he divorces her. And the plumber from Muncie, Yankiv, he goes ahead and he marries her. What's the halacha? The halacha is that the 5-towner can never marry her again. He goes ahead and he marries her. Step 3, he marries her. He 5 sons, what it says in the Torah. You know, he can't marry her, he marries her. And it happens to be, this guy, he used to be, maybe he's trying to become a little frummer, I don't know what the thing, but he's married to also your Yerushalmi lady too. Not such a frum one, so she has a phone and everything, whatever. She has 2 phones. And then he goes, bye-bye. So the shaila is, are you miyabim? Could you be miyabim the Yerushalmi lady? Because he married the Burka lady illegally. He's not allowed to marry her. The plumber married her in between. Now, obviously, if the plumber doesn't marry her, it's a mitzvah to marry her back. Though he said already, fine. By the way, the Rishonim say beautiful over here. If anybody was wondering, what's this whole idea, the tam of the mitzvah, so to speak, the Ramban says, it makes a lot of sense, this whole idea of Mazel Tov. Because you want to avoid, what's a good word for it? You want to avoid people doing monkey business. In other words, what you could do is, it's a trick. Somebody wants to be mizana, you could be a novel b'shus haTorah. That's what you could do. You divorce your wife, she goes on a vacation for 2 weeks, does whatever she wants, and it comes back and you marry her again. Shalom Yisrael. We need to avoid that. So you say, well, if you're going to be with anybody during those 2 weeks, I can never marry again. So you can't do any monkey business. It avoids monkey business. Fine. Zog the Gemara, Mishum Shenemar, Hamachzik Rishosim and Asura, Mina Erusin Muteres. So it's very, in those days, what? What do you mean?
The monkey business.
Right.
Well, he could, a guy can marry 100 women. I'm saying for the wife. Don't say it loud, because then I got already, the same lady that wrote me an email about how come her face is covered, okay. I don't think that Avera is right in the Torah. Okay, fine. So, but there's a difference between Erisin and Nesuin. Erisin, we call it Kiddushin. It's just giving her Kiddushin, but you don't take her as a wife. In those days, you could do Kiddushin, and then a few months later, you do, it's Erisin and Nesuin. You do Erisin, we call it Kiddushin, Erisin, then Nesuin. So if it was only the Erisin, they never were together, he just gave her a ring or whatever, then there's no Isser to be Machzer. The guy dies and then 5 towner can remarry her. But Erisin Materes, Mishum Shenemar Achrei Shehutama, the Torah uses the lashon of Tuma, meaning to defile, but it really means that there was Bia, there was a Maisa there. But Chacham Oimrim, Achazu v'Achazu Asura, Chacham say no. Even if just there was a money thing going on there, so unbelievable. So Chum say l'Rabbi Soita Shenistera that we're talking about a completely different case. We have a pasuk of Machzik Rishosim, and the pasuk is not even talking about Machzik Rishosim in that part. It's talking about a whole different case. And that's talking about a woman who's already married, and her husband told her not to be secluded, and she was. And the Torah uses lashon Tumah. So Mela, what do you see here? That even Suffolk Tuma is Asur. The whole pasuk is talking about a case that he told her don't be nister, and she was. And it says that she's parted from Chalitza. Says the Gemara, my nister nivala. No, you didn't read it right. Nister doesn't mean that he warned her and he doesn't know what happened. There was Eidim, it was a real Bia, everything. It was a real Znus. V'mai Karla Nistera. Listen to Yanakat. It's just a nice way of speaking. Says the Gemara, but Nivala, that's a different pasuk. Why do I need the pasuk? Why do I have to go into Machzik Rishos and use that? There's a whole parsha about it. V'nistera, v'nitma. It says Mefurish. In the parsha of Saita. That's used Mizana. L'mekim ala balav. If you only go by the parsha of Saita, then it's an asay. There's no lav over there. And what's the difference if it's an asay or lav? Malkus. That the Torah says that you cannot marry that woman who was nister. You can't remain married to her, and if you do, you get malchus. I wouldn't know that without this pasuk. Maybe I need this pasuk. He holds that there's 0 lav. In other words, if I continue being married to my wife, who I'm suspecting her of znus, there's no lav. I don't get malchus. My timer? Havaye beishus ksivba. So if you look at the screen for a second, in the pasuk of Mazel Tov, it says V'lakcha v'haisa. Not in that chat over there, but just as a. So the pasuk is telling me, according to Rabbi Kippur, that we're talking about real marriage. So Rabbi Kippur holds that number one, there's two machlokes in here. Mazel Tov, like we saw before, is only real. That the plumber guy not only was Makadisher, but they were together. Nisuin. So therefore, he doesn't have a pasuk for Saita. Yeah? Rabbi Yosef Kippur holds the whole pasuk talking about Mazel Tov. Talking about Mazel Tov. So what about a Saita? That a husband tells his wife, don't be secluded, and then he continues living with her. It's only an asay. I don't have a special pasuk. But according to Chachamim, the pasuk of Mazel Tov is talking about a Saita. So two things happen here. First of all, over on Mazel Tov, the plumber will be, if the plumber just gave her kiddushin, he gave her some money, gave her a ring, the original husband is over immediately, number one. Number two, the Saita has a full lav, because that's in the pasuk of Mazel Tov. According to them, the pasuk of Mazel Tov is talking about Saita. You get a lav, and if you get a lav, you get Malkas. Boy, Minei Rav Yehuda, Rav Sheishes, and Mazel Tov, Mishanisis Vameis, Tzarasamau. If somebody divorced his wife, and then, so it's basically, do I have a thing here? Tzarasa, yeah. Here's the case. You have the dentist from the Five Towns, he had a wife, divorced her, the plumber marries her, and then he remarries her after he shouldn't have married her, but he has a second wife, he has a tzara. What happens to the tzara? Rabbi Yosef is of the opinion that the pasuk by Mazel Tov is talking about her. About the whole pasuk is talking about Mazel Tov. Forget about Saita. So Memela, it says the word tum over there. So she's mamish erva. It's like the 15 of our Mishnah. The tzara has the same halacha. I cannot be miyabim the tzara. Maybe you'll be a chacham and say, well, it says he. It's only her. Only she's an erva. But her tzara not. No, that he goes for something else. He toyeva and b'nei toyeva. It's just to say that they're not possible for kuna. They're not here. Hatzaras toyeva. The tzara and her are in the same category. Can't be miyab. Kitibaylach. This is step one. Kitibaylach. Leave the rabbanon. Avagav domer rabbanon tuma b'soitu d'chsiv. Rabbanon say that this pasuk is not mamish talking about a Mazel Tov. It's talking about a saita. You can't ignore the fact that the simple wording is talking about a saita. Or Dilma, given the Akir, at the end of the day, the pasuk is not talking about a saita. So Mela, she's mutter to be misyabim, the tzara, the Yerushalmi lady right over here, even though she's a tzara with the Burka lady, and the dentist shouldn't have married the Burka lady, but there's no pasuk to tell us that they're tzaras when it comes to Yibam. Some say no. It's very similar, but the opposite. I'll leave the Rabban given this Hakir. According to Chachamim, the pasuk of Mazel Tov is not talking about Mazel Tov. It's talking about a Saita. And what? This tzara is mutter to be miyam. I don't have a pasuk to say that she's also in Yibam because there's no pasuk about Mazel Tov. Which was so simple to use a second ago that it's 100% also. Even though you're going to say the pasuk is mamish about Mazel Tov as it started and as a kid in Cheder would understand, it's talking about Mazel Tov. And therefore, what it says tumah Mazel Tov, which would mean what? That the tzara is just like the one that he returned. So it's just like he wasn't allowed to marry the Burka lady, so he's not allowed to marry the tzara. So when he when he goes bye-bye, he can't do Yibum. No, the brothers can't perform Yibum to the two of these. But at the end of the day, in the pasuk it says he. No, I'm not going to put both of them in one category. Only one of them, only the Burka lady. Maybe the word he is not going on her, it's going on her sons. I have a Mefurish Brayso. It's a Mishnah. If a person has two Yevamos to be miyabim, yeah? Regular case. A brother dies, 2 Yevamos come down to him. Now what? I want you, take the puzzle and just keep the psul with her, give her, do whatever you have to do over there, give chalitza to the puzzle. Says Gemara, but what does it mean? Maybe you're talking about a psul for kohen, let's say. But he's a yavam. He could take anyone he wants, any one of these 2 women. Might have to so what's the difference if he takes this one or that one? It's miyam this one, miyam that one. Allah, the Gemara wants to force we're talking about our case. It says mufurish. You could be miyabim the tzara. You're asking me, could you be miyabim the tzara? And I'm telling you, you could. Here mufurish it says you could. Loy lam ksherik sher la'alma psula psula alma. No, it's like our havamina. What difference does it make to him? He could do whatever he wants. Let him be chayletz, the kosher lady. No, it makes a huge difference. There's a lesson in me this Rabbi Yisai. I'm serious. Don't pour out your water when other people need it. Why would you ruin a woman's life? Why would you make her puzzle and she can't marry a kohen tomorrow? You're making her a chalutza, she can't marry a kohen. Do your chalitza on the woman who anyways is puzzled to the kohen. It's a lesson I learned here in this neighborhood. Rabbi Greenman's wife comes to our house every week. Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Friday. Leftovers from last Shabbos. There are people in the neighborhood that are starving. I'm not kidding. They're starving. Food that I thought for me is not edible because it's already one day after Shabbos. Throw it out. I'm not kidding. There are people that love this stuff. They say it's one of the best. My wife is a great cook. On Tuesday, they know she's the best cook, but I didn't have it on Wednesday. So I was cleaning out my machsan. First, I just moved to Eretz Yisrael. Took all the stuff, all the drill bits, all the stuff, threw in the garbage. I see 100 kids in the garbage cans. They're coming out with. So, tachlis, what you think you don't need this water? Don't pour it out, especially in these neighborhoods. And it's a lesson for everybody. Have a wonderful Shushan Purim. By the way, Matzah Shabbos. Today's Friday, right? Matzah Shabbos. Let's do 15 minutes later, Gershon. Okay? 8:45, which really means 9:15. 8:45.